there's more and more people going towards the organic side of things now. There's people who swear that if you're giving the plant an organic fertilizer or organic regimen, it's going to create a better terpene profile. On the other side, you got people who are using synthetics that are saying, no, the organics break down to the same exact molecule and then the plant's uptaking it. So there's no difference there. What's your thoughts on that? Can the fertilizer impact terpenes at all?
Oh yeah, and this is a very deep rabbit hole. So everybody hang on. So the fun, so we're gonna go from a very macro perspective of this, and then we're gonna dive deep into each of the synthetics, what it's doing for the plant, and the organics, what it's doing for the plant. Because they're right. Molecules break down to molecules, right? And it's like the simplest form, but ratios are important, and the type of molecule is important, and nitrogen is not just nitrogen. So, just generally speaking, when it comes to plant nutrition, your elements that you give the plant are going to be what the plant turns into enzymes that are going to create all these terpenes. So if you have your micronutrient profile, believe it or not, is going to be a very important factor into what the plant creates, because manganese and magnesium are both used in the process to make phenolic compounds, to make terpenes and flavonoids and even active compounds inside the plant. So everything down to the elements that you are using is going to give you a different, it's going to give you a different terpene output, a different flavonoid output, a different even antioxidant output in blueberries, because all of these elements are what allows the plant to biochemically turn into something. So just 20 macro view, 20,000 feet, your nutrient profiles that you use are going to have a direct impact on the flavor and the terpenes that the plant is going to create. So when you get down to it though, so making sure you have the right blend, micronutrient blend to macro blend to secondary element blend, is really important. A lot of times you have these improper proportions of micronutrients, and the answer is more CalMag, because magnesium can supplement to the plant a function that manganese does. So, both of these elements, you have to have things in the proper balance first and foremost. Secondarily, nitrogen salts are probably the plight to getting flavor inside the plants. If you're using a high nitrate load, high urea, high ammonia, the plants, you're going to have to increase the water load so much inside the plant that it's going to dilute out the sap. So what we see with like forage, for example, like alfalfa, the first chop is always the best when you grow alfalfa from seed, and that's because the plant has the sap, doesn't need all the extra nutrients that we put after you cut it the first time for like the second crop for it to grow back. And we find that when you start applying nitrogenous salts like nitrates, like urea, ammonium nitrate, the plant's water load goes up a ton. And what ends up happening is that all the sap, which contains all the flavor, which contains all your total dissolved solids, is going to get diluted out with water now. So yes, molecules break down to molecules, but when you start pumping nitrates into the plant's water load increases to the point where any flavor you did have is getting washed out now. And this is why you see a lot of the hydronutrients produce crops that taste very similar, because we rely on our carbo loads, we rely on our sweeteners to give the plant a form of carbon to kind of catch the Brix level up for the amount of water load going up. Mississippi State did a really cool study on forage, and their first cut, they didn't put any application of nitrogen and salts down. The Brix level is about 12%, which is good for like grass. After they did one application of ammonium nitrate, it dropped from 12% to 7%, the Brix level did. And that's because we're diluting out the sap content, the total dissolved solids of the plant, with the increased nitrogen and salts bringing the water load up. So it's not that like you're using chemicals and the chemicals are causing the plant to produce a bad flavor. It's that we're just increasing the water load to the point where once we dry it, we just diluted out all of our flavor molecules to the plant. So when you look at organic growing, so that's like the synthetic rabbit hole, right? Is in order to get the potassium, the phosphorus, all these microelements, the calcium into the plant, we need to increase, everything's attached to nitrate molecule, which brings a ton of water with it, which more nutrients, more water, so technically just diluting everything out. In the organic side of things, you don't have nitrogen assaults the way you do these synthetic fertilizers or these salt-based fertilizers. Your nitrogen assaults are wrapped up in guanos, is wrapped up in blood meal. There's carbon, there's other molecules that are attached to it. So it's not just a free load of nitrates just getting pushed into your plant. Nitrates are important. Ammonia is important for the plant to produce into different compounds. You know, the plant functions and lives off nitrates. I mean, hell, the lightning hitting the sky and taking the water molecules and conducting electrolysis takes the oxygen in the sky and the nitrogen in the sky, combines it into nitrates, and the nitrates rain down on us all the time. And that's why after a rain, you see the plants start growing really, really well. Is because they just got showered with light amounts of nitrates, because nitrates are a part of are part of nature, and they're part of our society. The problem, though, and this is why organic soil grown ultimately is more flavorful, is because we don't have the amount of nitrates getting pushed into the plant. So the plant has more bricks, more sap content, and that's where all the flavor is. That's where all your phenolic compounds are that are going to get turned into active compounds or terpenes or flavonoids or esters or thiols. They all are retained within the sap of the plant. And the biggest difference between soil grown and say salt grown is the nitrate load and diluting out the flavor that the plant naturally has.
This clip is brought to you by AC Infinity. Use discount code MrGrow at 15 to save on any of their products. Sap, bricks,